Alright, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I told you in last week's episode that my clay was too dry. Now it might be too wet. We'll see. So the first thing I gotta do is get this. I already tried one. I got it pulled up. I'll show you that picture. I did a video, but it took me too long. So let's see if I can get this centered and stuck to the bat quicker than I did last time. So the object here is to cone up and cone down until it is centered on the wheel and not flying around lopsided. Again, I'm trying to do this a little bit quicker so this video isn't, 3 hours long. So again, you slap you put your clay in the middle, and then you got to push it up and push it down. You got to not take your hands off of the clay too quickly. That can cause it to go out of center. And I think I want to make a base shape, so I don't want this to be too wide. Again, you got to be that's a little wider than I want. Not move your hands too quickly. Then you call what's opening up. Your fingers down there in the middle. The last one I did, I went down a little far. So hopefully this time I'll try not to go down quite so far. So you don't go down at the bat, you want to leave yourself a little space down there so you got room to trim if you're going to trim. And take a needle tool. That's way more than I need. I'm going to leave it though. I'll just trim. Again, I'm trying to be expeditious in this video. Alright, now I'm just going to go over here and push in on this side with my finger on the inside. Get my wheel. This is a Lockerbie wheel, by the way, motorized. It wasn't just a regular kick wheel, but it has been motorized. That's what I learned to throw on. Pull this up. Get rid of some of that excess clay. Maybe be a little bit more aggressive on this pull. Last time I didn't stop at the top soon enough. It got pretty thin up there. Got some water in the middle. My sponge on a stick, which I'll give a shout out to Tim C., who's a potter, who's an excellent teacher. He has some tutorials on YouTube, but mainly he does Facebook now. But he's an excellent teacher. So as I push in on the outside and the inside, I want to keep my hands locked together and pull toward the inside of the mug so it doesn't keep wanting to flap on the outside, which is what cylinder shapes want to do. Go this way. So you just try to keep them. This is called collaring. Various ways to do that. It's getting a little wide down there, but we're going to give it another pull before I start collaring it in. Again, I'm trying to do this quickly so this video isn't forever long. I'm not that worried about how long it takes me to do some on the wheel. I don't try to be Speedy Gonzales with knitting. I don't try to be Speedy Gonzales with my pottery. So now we're going to collar it in. It's still quite thick. Lay small. I'm trying to do a cylinder as a base. Okay, we're gonna go give us some more speed on the wheel. Lighten it up as I get toward the top so it doesn't get too thin up here. Still not as tall as I want. And it's flaring out. So as I said, this is a Lockerbie wheel that has been motorized, so it is noisy. The new electric wheels are not noisy like this, but I like this. Maybe one of these days I'll get a new, small, quiet wheel. Not this day. I keep my hands connected, but at the moment it's a little far away. Aggressive on this one. Get my thumb back out there and connect to my other hand. This might be all I get. I can tell it's this clay is wet. I can tell it's not going to want to take too much more. So you know it'll start collapsing on me. All right. Not exactly as tall as I would want to have it. Collar it in. Some of that water out of the bottom. I almost want to try one more pull. Alright, we're going for it. Collar this in. It's way wider up here than down there. And lighten it up at the top. Alright, let me get that clay. You can't see this side. Alright, let's see if we can get it collared in a bit without it collapsing on us. You can only do so much with clay and then it just wants to collapse. Fatigue, too wet. Some of that water out of the bottom. Whoops. missed my bucket. I'm not going to take time cleaning that up. Alright, I'm going to collar this in more because I like a base that's a little bit more closed. We don't have to put a million flowers in there. They just seem to be more popular. Close as I want it. I have a mirror right across from here. and I can see if it looks a little wonkus. So I'm going to cut a little bit off, slow down the wheel, stick the needle tool in there, cut that off. Very thick. I got plenty of clay right here to play with, but I don't want it to collapse on me either. Chamois here. Slow it down. Chamois off the rough. There's some rough bits in there. Chamois that down. Alright, I think there might be a little bit of water down there we're going to get out. Cut off the bottom. Try to do some carving on this once it gets a little bit harder. What's called leather hard. You can actually do some, actually you could do some wavy stuff on here now, but I'll probably carve this. Alright, let's see how that looks. Not bad. Now we need to take our wire tool, get a little water on it, and we wire this off. Do it again with a little water. Sometimes it'll move a little bit. This isn't a very big piece, so. Alright. Then you get a board. You put this on. Lift it off the throwing wheel. And I'm not going to be able to move that. Alright, so pick this up, put it on the wheel, and then I put it over here with the other pot that I threw a second ago and let it start drying. I'm going to try to do this outside, but it's very windy. So if you remember from the week of my episode from 10.5 that I threw a couple of vases. This is one of the vases, and I am going to attempt, and again I can hardly see if you can see it on the camera, I'm going to carve freehand. I did draw it on here, but that was freehand too. And although I'm not much of an artist, I've gotten better, because that's another thing that I was teaching myself, is how to draw. So again, I don't know how much you're going to see, because it's so hard to tell what the camera is actually picking up. It's very bright out here. These are flowers I'm putting in here, and then I did some freehand abstract birds. So this will just give some interest to the vase. And place for the glaze pull. These are leather hard. As a matter of fact, it's starting to get a little too dry, maybe. I carved the other one. If you recall in that episode, I did 2 vases. The other one, I think I showed you more of the other one than this one. And once I glaze the other one, I'll show you what I did on that too. And like I said, it's very windy out here, so if this turns out to be too windy, can't hear anything because of the wind, then obviously I won't use this video. I just realized those wind chimes back there are also going crazy. So I'll have to continue working on this. But again, like I said, I'm doing this freehand with some of my carving tools. These tools aren't, well, I guess they could be meant for this, but I need to get this a little bit deeper so when I put the glaze on, it pulls better. So we'll see how this, didn't do this one. See how this, again, so hard to tell. If I've got it in the frame because it's so bright out here. And I don't want to mess up. Because then what would I do? I guess just put squiggly lines on here, but that's kind of freaky because I've already started carving these flowers. And the birds. I forgot to get the birds in there. So, I will be firing up my kiln tomorrow morning, somewhere between 5 and 6 a.m. This is what is on the bottom shelf, pointing out this is the Toolman cup for my husband, and this is the bowl I glazed in that last video. This is on the bottom shelf. Top shelf is loaded. Got the 2 gnomes in there. One little Ohio bud vase, and we're firing to cone 6. Good morning. This is the most nerve-wracking part when you open up the kiln to see what happened. This is the top shelf. My gnomes. I see we got to a cone 6, which is what I was shooting for. So that's a good thing here on the top shelf. And when I pull these out, I'll give you a further peek. These are the 2 gnomes that were in the kiln. Sorry about my finger in the picture. And one of my mushrooms. Turned out very well. Here's a look at the bottom shelf. I pulled out the Toolman. These are still really hot, just as I feared with the black in the letters. Not so great. I should have just gone with the teal. Anyway, these are very hot, and when they cool down, I'll finish unloading and show you the rest of what's in there. All right, here we go. This is the bowl that you guys watched me glaze, with the iron luster and the flux, the honey flux, and the iron luster bands, and then the crazed copper inside, which looks very nice. Pulled a little bit in the bottom. All right, quickly, this is the teal color, the teal drift, as I thought, as I said. Ran out of there Sweetie, I hope you'll go ahead and use it till I make a new one. Ran out of Ohio letters. This one without the letters is beautiful, so I will no longer be doing letters on anything like that. This is one of my mushrooms I'm enjoying making now. This is Cosmic Black on the cap. I do believe I put some white engobe underneath that, and Aurora Green on the stem, which looks very nice. And then you have the old lace on that stem, and on the top is winterwood, and that looks very, very nice. This plate, because it was flat, I don't like. I like it how it pooled here, so I'm going to try it on a carved piece, a vertical piece. But this is 2 times Honey Flax, 2 times Enchanted Forest. And again, I liked how the colors look, but it didn't showcase the texture because this was texture that I rolled in here. But I like how the texture looks on the sides where it would actually have been running down a little bit. And the gnomes are, this is Amico, whoops, I wasn't in the frame. This is Amico Dark Green. And this is Mako Stroke and Coat Sour Apple. And this was Cafe au lait on the body, which I don't care for. And then this guy here I left natural. And I like that. I like the natural. And then I just put some, I think it was hair, or I can't remember, it was a gray that I put in both of the beards, which I liked a lot. So like these guys a lot. So yeah, was a success, except for the runny letters. No more letters for me.